Still focused on the Labour Party and PDP crisis in the Edo State, and we would further that conversation with our guest in the studio, Matthew Oluku, a public affairs analyst. Thank you once again. Let's look at all of this backs and forth between the Labour Party and the PDP. We just heard the Labour Party chairman in Edo State saying that there are no talks of alliances with the PDP, and it made it sound like it wasn't a possibility. But we've seen that happen in different states. Even the spokesman for the Labour Party candidate, governorship candidate in Lagos State, was here last week, and he was talking to us about how they're in talks with other parties to form alliances with different parties to form a strong force. I know that it may not be the case in Edo State, but what do you make of all of these backs and forths?
You see, Edo State, I think the major reason Edo is being focused, giving priority attention by everybody, all stakeholders, is because of the peculiar nature of the legislative arm of government in Edo State. Don't forget that under this current administration of Governor Obaseki in Edo State, in this is second tenure, the House of Assembly have not functioned effectively because of some politics in that state. Having said that, you see, politicians and politics, they like playing gimmick. If they feel that, PDP itself, if they feel that telling politicians or telling the people, telling the electorate that there's an alliance between Labour Party and PDP, if they feel it is going to give an edge to convince the electorates, I think they will not hesitate in doing that. But I think it's good that Labour Party is coming out to clarify that actually there is no such alliance. Like you just said, it's not out of place to form alliance, whether between two political parties or even more. But where that does not exist and somebody is going around peddling it, I think for me it is not healthy for our democracy. But that notwithstanding, I know Nigerian politicians, they make use of propaganda so much. They believe that it's an instrument that helps in winning people, convincing people to perhaps buy into their idea or vote for them. So I'm not surprised if such did not exist and PDP is going about in Edo State to propagate it.
But the Labour Party seems to be the bride of the day, the new bride now, where, for instance, an already existing party, the PDP, would be talking about peddling rumors of forming alliance with them. And we know that in Lagos State, we've seen the Lagos State governor intensifying his campaign following what happened at the presidential polls, where we saw the Labour Party, overshoot the votes that the sitting APC government had.
You don't take away that fact, because you see in almost all the area states where Labour Party registered serious impact, the ruling parties, majorly PDP and APC in those states, are on their toes now. You just mentioned Lagos State. Personally, I saw even the Lagos State governor, I think in a church, having a handshake with people who came to the church as a way of trying to familiarize himself and make the people accept and see him as one of them. Because before now, I think there is that narrative out there that he's not close to the people and that religion play a pivotal role in the voting pattern of last election. But beyond that, in Lagos State, I want to tell you that the government of Lagos State should look towards other areas, because you cannot take away the fact that NSAS scenario played part in last election. And if the Lagos State governor or government is not addressing that area, they may be in for trouble. Don't forget that.
But we're focused on the Edo State before you bring us to Lagos State. But where do you see all of this going? You mentioned propaganda. Most times when it comes to elections in Nigeria, we see all of this propaganda. Unfortunately, we could not connect with the Labour Party chairman, because I would have loved to hear from him, especially looking at the whole scenario, how it would play out when it comes to the electorate, knowing who to vote for at the National Assembly polls and the state, governorship polls.
Naturally, it is the right of every eligible voter to decide who to vote for. But that notwithstanding, there's a place for people being convinced, people being talked to. And there's no doubt that in the event of propagating your opinion, selling your manifesto, somebody who may have formed his opinion about who to vote for may have a change of mind if you come with a superior argument why the person should jettison his initial position to accept a different position. There's no argument about that. But having said that, people who see propaganda as a tool to advance their opinion don't hesitate in using it. Because if you now feel that if in Edo State, it is believed that before Labour Party became prominent in Edo State, PDP was a major dominant party. And if you take away Labour Party, the electors in Edo State would naturally want to go for PDP. So if you now find a way of convincing the people that actually Labour Party is in alliance with PDP, perhaps they are jettisoning all the candidates of Labour Party, they are not voting for them, we are having only PDP candidates standing for this election, it will fly if Labour Party did not come out to refute it. Just like we heard in Anambra State, where the presidential candidate of Labour Party said that people should vote for Labour Party at the end of the election, that they should work with the incumbent governor. And if the Abga party in Anambra State find it convenient to convince people that we have formed alliance with
the
Labour Party, that we have done away with presidential election, vote for Abga for the purpose of this election, and perhaps Labour Party did not refute it, people will naturally vote for Abga. So in the same vein, if when they came up with that propaganda, we are calling propaganda because Labour Party is refuting it. If when they came up with that propaganda, there was no rebuttal from Labour Party, it will fly and it will meet its purpose.
All right, now we've looked at it that Labour Party, given their perception, was a party that was formed yesterday, as the case may be, and of course there is this rumor that they may come third place if care is not taken in the general election that was just conducted a few weeks ago. Now, this alliance, this unholy alliance, a rumor at that, we've seen cases where some state governors were rooting for the APC in their state, and of course some other state governors in the southwest. Why are they coming up with this propaganda with a Labour Party that they presume might not hold any place when it comes to the election? Why not with the ruling party?
They are looking at the peculiarity of each state and the scenario surrounding the election in that state. Like I just said, if you take those states, for instance, you agree with me that before now, PDP used to be on ground more than any other political party. But with the Obi tsunami in those states and some other part of the country, it is not evident that if they sustain that tempo, if they sustain that momentum, and they go into the governorship election, you can't take that away. It means they will have the day in terms of winning almost all the House of Assembly elections. Because in Edo State, Labour Party won convincingly in the presidential election, like in Delta State as well. So if that is the case, and you have a governor who is in PDP, and don't forget that when the tenure of the incumbent governor will elapse, Labour Party will be feeding a governorship candidate. So Labour Party would have been preparing that we are likely going to take over the state. So for them, this House of Assembly election is a serious business. And it can even be an opportunity for Labour Party to get, if they get the House of Assembly members, have the Speaker of the House of Assembly, and perhaps in the event of this administration, the governor commits an impeachable offense and is impeached, they stand the chance of even getting the governor of the state. So for me, for Labour, I think it is a good fight and it is a better time to start the fight.
But the Labour Party chairman in the state is also alleging that Governor Godwin Obaseki of the state has planted moles in the Labour Party to, kind of scuttle their attempt to win the National Assembly polls. But where does all of this come from? Especially looking at the fact that all of these, so to speak, alleged moles would be party members or card-carrying members of the PDP, if they were actually planted in the Labour Party, how does that work in favor of the PDP?
But at this stage, even if you plant any mole in Labour Party, I don't think it will have much impact.
So
where you would have registered impact is perhaps during the time of during the time of feeding candidates. Maybe you try to hijack the structure of the party and they pretend to be members of the Labour Party. At the end of the day, you find out that they are planted, and it comes to perhaps during the time you want to select candidates of the party. But now you are facing the electorates, so even if you plant any more now, it will not have much impact because you are facing. If you even look at the people who vote, majority of people who vote are not card-carrying member of any political party. So at this stage, even if you plant any mole, it will not have any major impact.
So are you saying that that allegation does not really hold water?
Even if it may not hold much water now, because I don't see any major role such person who is
because you mentioned several names. Several names.
I don't see any major role they can play, because except you want to tell me that when you want to start picking agents of the party for the purpose of the House of Assembly election, that you made mistake of picking those who are planted to sabotage their success.
Okay.
But if they have been identified and you are not picking them as agents of the party, I don't see any way they have the capacity to sabotage their efforts.
But how do you see all of this playing out in the end, especially for the PDP and Labour Party? We know that yes, it's looking like a two-horse race in that particular state.
Hence, Labour Party is already aware of this propaganda. Like I said, I call it propaganda because they are coming out to refute it. Hence, they are already aware of the propaganda and they are fighting it by way of sensitizing the public, their own party members, that this is not coming from us. We are not into any alliance with any political party. I think it will not have any effect. Because whether I would like it or not, the way it stands, like I just said, if Labour Party supporters come out to vote like the way they voted in the last general election, presidential election, Labour Party will be a party to beat in that Edo contest.
Well, we'll see how that pans out, especially with the Labour Party tsunami that you have, earlier described. But we'll take a break now. We'll be back to discuss on other issues. Stay with us. Good to have you back. Now let's discuss the aftermath of the Presidential National Assembly polls, which took place on the 25th of February. Now, the leadership of the ruling APC, that's the All Progressives Congress, has invited the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his running mate, and Kashim Shettima, senators-elect, and members of the House of Representatives-elect on its platform to a crucial meeting. The closed-door meeting, which is scheduled to hold at the State House in Abuja on Monday, has got political stakeholders pondering what it is all about. Though the agenda for the meeting was not stated, a source at the APC Secretariat told them that it had to do with early consultation and strategic plans concerning the issue of zoning of the Senate presidency, Speaker for the House of Representatives, and other principal officers, or rather offices, in the National Assembly. And to discuss this further, we have Matthew Oluku in the studio. Thank you for staying with us. Now, looking at all of this development, especially following the elections, which saw the APC garnering the highest votes at the Senate and the National, I think they had 57 seats at the National Assembly so far, and over 106 at the House of Representatives. It's looking like they are, of course, if President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu is sworn in by May 29, barring any unforeseen contingencies or changes, it means that the National Assembly will now be dominated by the APC, and of course he would be the president sitting over that National Assembly. But a lot of speculations are going into the fact that this meeting is a way to prevent what happened in 2015, where we saw the former Senate President Bukola Saraki, going through the back door to get the seat of the Senate President. What are your thoughts?
To start with, I don't know what you mean by going through the back seat anyway. But what I can
That's the
understand
way
is,
they describe it. They're saying that he went through the back door.
what I can understand is there is no even law saying that the Speaker or House of Representatives or the Senate President must be from the ruling party or from the party that have the dominant members. There is no law that says that. But having said that, it is not out of place, and that has always been the case, even beyond Nigeria, that once you have majority of the party members elect, you are likely going to have the leadership of the House. Now, that is a situation where, even as we speak, a serving senator from Kano State, only surviving senator anyway, who is the only senator who won under the platform of APC from Kano State, is the current House Committee chairman on appropriation. He already had a meeting with some senators elect, about 70 of them, drawn from APC and other political parties. But what I try to say in essence is, there's nothing stopping any senator elect that is qualified to contest as the Senate President or as the Speaker of House of Representatives from aspiring to do so. Because
irrespective of the party.
Irrespective of the party. I think that is what played out in Saraki's and Dogada scenario. Because you have a situation where, as Nigerians, as senators elect and House of Representatives elect, you have your right to contest and aspire to lead the House. And the party is coming to tell that the party is supreme. You should jettison your opinion. You should jettison your ambition. I have a situation where even before people who contested and won, who are now the president-elect, the vice president-elect and all that, there were scenarios that there were some narrative out there that a particular geopolitical zone was more justified to take a shot at the presidency, and even the president-elect did not see it that way. And I can understand that after election like this, people are trying to do some balancing to reflect the radical spread, perhaps to be in tandem with federal character. But having said that, I think it is not out of place too for the party itself, I mean APC, to have meeting and try to see how they can have a common front and perhaps have a proposed Senate President and the Speaker of House of Representatives. I think it's not out of place.
But looking at, you just mentioned the fact that a party has the highest number of seats doesn't mean that they should be the ones to. Yes, it doesn't mean that they should be the one. There's no constitution backing that. But we've seen that happen over time. Where is the place of zoning in all of this?
In our constitution, there are so many lacunae to the extent that the constitution do not expressly say you must give this to this zone and give that to the other zone. And what the people try to do is, hence you have the president, the way it is now, the president elect from the southwest, the vice president elect from the northeast, and perhaps under APC arrangement, you have the APC national chairman from north central. So they are now looking at that. The areas you have not given any major position is northwest, which gave APC the highest number of votes. You are looking at south, south, and southeast. And don't forget that in the election of principal officers, after proclamation from the president, after you would have been sworn in, you need just simple majority. So to that extent, if you are contesting, you may not look at, once you have a good number from almost all the sides, whether you are from APC, PDP, Labour Party, anybody can emerge winner. But looking at justification, looking at trying to meet with federal character, since Southwest already have the president, Northeast already have the vice president, North Central already have APC national chairman, which is a considered position for sharing. Now you are looking at southeast, south, and northwest. And as it stands today, you have the Senate presidency, Speaker of House of Representatives, perhaps Secretary to Federal Government. I think in their balancing, they will try to give one each to these three remaining geopolitical zones, and not in their party are not part of the meeting, so I will not sit here to start deciding which zone should get what. But I know it may not be far from that arrangement.
Now let's look at the fact that some southwestern states and of course the north have experienced the Senate presidency over time. Now people are talking about the fact that what has this amounted to in terms of good governance, in terms of giving people the dividends of democracy? Because this whole tussle of which zone takes the Senate presidency and all of that, kindly tell us what exactly is the dividends of democracy that people get to feel from those who occupy this position?
If you ask me, I will tell you that I am not too comfortable with that arrangement. Because it's constitutional. Because you see, at times it promotes mediocrity above meritocracy.
That's the zoning arrangement.
Yes, because you find a situation where